finally done it!
Welcome back to the Global Poker League this Wednesday evening. I'm Laura Cornelius and you are watching Heads Up action from the Eurasian Conference. We've already seen Nanonoko Randy Liu take the first game down against Vov Troy. Of course, it was 2-1. He took 6 points for the Hong Kong Stars. We spoke to him after the game and he obviously had a great game, and Hong Kong Stars have had an absolutely fantastic start to the week. 20 points just from yesterday and today. So let's take a look at the Eurasian standings and how that affected things in what we see. Moscow Wolverines taking 3 points in that first game. 150 points there, 10 points clear of the Hong Kong Stars. As I said, they were 20 points behind before yesterday. London Royals are about to take on the Paris Aviators. There's just 1 point separating that third and fourth place in the conference, so everything is to play for. Whoever wins today will go into third place. And we've got the Berlin Bears on 126 points and the Rome Emperors in 6th place on 122. Those 5th and 6th place will play each other in the third and final heads-up match of the evening. Let's take a look at the top scorers quickly. And we can see Olivier Bousquet, Anatoly Filatov, Fedor Holz all still on 56 points. Although Bousquet has played 1 less game than Filatov and Holz. Randy Liu now in 4th. He was in 4th before, but he had the same amount of points as Mike Lear did before. He is now 6 points more after that first game with now 48 points. We've got Scott Ball in 5th place with 44 points. That probably is from his last appearance on Saturday at TwitchCon. And then Mike Lear now in 6th place with 42 points. So those are our top scorers. You can now download our app as well, so you can keep up to date wherever you are in the world. It's available on iOS and on Android. Just head to the App Store and download it to keep up to date with all the latest news. You can get merchandise now as well from the fan shop, hoodies, t-shirts and caps of your favorite team. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter and YouTube. We've got a great match coming up for you. It is Paris versus London.
We were just comparing our respective physiques here in the
we're always ready.
Commentary, but we're always ready for the GPL action. That's
Very
game
nice
2.
matchup.
Game 2. Igor Kurganov and Alexandre Luneau. This is Paris against London again, and we saw that incredible clash between Igor and Mike Lear last week. But this time it's Alexandre Luneau looking to well, sort of set fire to London's hopes.
I expect fireworks.
Yeah, I mean, both these guys are probably going to know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're both really good high-level thinking players, and as a matter of fact, that might result in non-fireworks because they also have to build like decent checkback ranges and flop and turns and whatever. So they're maybe not even going to spew it all in. That's what we hope for, right? I hope for fireworks. But, yeah.
I mean, yeah, we always hope for fireworks in this booth. Alexandre Luneau, probably the lesser known of these two guys. Very well known in the sort of mixed game, high stakes realm. Igor, very well known for his his live performances. A lot of his big results
online
coming
as well.
in.
I've been playing with him for like over the last 5, 6, 7 years. I don't even remember when he started. Like, he's been around as well. Like, and after that, he did a lot better than I did. So he must be very smart.
Yeah. But Alexandre Luneau picked up 3rd place in the 10K heads up at the World Series. That was a pretty stacked field, as you'd imagine, in that one.
He must be very good as well. So I expect very high-level thinking, and I hope we can get some interaction from the players, some explanations about their thinking process. So
yeah, always great to hear from these guys.
Yep.
I was not quite sure how much we'll hear from Mr. Luneau, but certainly Igor has been treating us over the weeks.
Cool.
This is we've seen Igor 10 times in the GPL.
And he talks a lot. So.
He does talk. I mean, it might depend on what other tournaments he's playing, but he's played a mixed array of heads. Had a few heads-up matches, a mixed bag of results for Igor, but he's always making roughly the right decisions. So, don't think we're going to expect to see too many.
It's too bad for me. I can probably not spot a lot of big mistakes in this game. Like, the good thing is I can learn a lot, so that's why I like to hear Igor talk as well. So yeah, cool. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the match anyway. So
this is 3rd versus 4th in the Eurasian Conference. Really nice kind of the way in which the fixtures stacked up tonight. We saw the top 2 teams clashing earlier with Randy Liu going up 2-1 against Vladimir Troinovsky of the Moscow Wolverines. And
with
later
these
on
teams
tonight,
having 1 point difference in the standings.
131
to 130. So
yeah, really
everything's
exciting
open.
Kind of way the teams are bunched in the Eurasian Conference. So should be getting to this game pretty soon. And just a reminder, the last game of the night is one not to be missed either. Timothy Adams for the Rome Emperors going heads up against
my boy Dominic
Your
Nietzsche.
boy Dominic Nietzsche of the Berlin Bears, who made a really nice recovery
it's going to be a close match,
Brian Rast and Jeff Gross in the last few weeks. But Dominic Nietzsche is a player you told me that you had a lot of respect for. I think
of course. He wins like bracelets. Like I go to the supermarket and pick up my groceries. He picks up another bracelet. Like now Dominic, very friendly guy, and has been around. Like he's very young, younger than you would think with the big beard. And if you look at his results, but I respect him a lot. It's going to be a very close match, one I look forward to as well. So
he was looking rather dishevelled last time he was on webcam. He had his beard. Yeah, he had a beard that wasn't quite as manicured as yours, should we say? He looked a bit like Adrian Brody in the final scenes of the Pianist when he'd been locked away for quite a considerable period of time. But yeah, Dominic is a player who when he speaks and when he gives us his thoughts on the GPL, really exciting player to hear from. Yeah, I saw you'd had a final table with Dominic Nietzsche. So EPT Dublin, I was looking through.
Yeah, there was like
results.
the 2K
the UK IPT high roller.
It was really funny. I play a lot with him online as well. Not that much actually. I do play more with Tom Hall. And he was on the same final table as well. Yeah. So we went for like dinner or lunch, like dinner in the dinner break with the 3 of us, and then we went back to it was last 2 tables, and then we kept butchering each other, and they came out on top. So I kept studying and learning, and one day I will manage to beat these young kids. Like,
obviously, Dominic did go on to win that.
And if not, I can always just
unsurprisingly.
He won that one. I remember one hand where he made like a big 3-bet against me, where I folded like a decent hand. But there's always like details like that, and then he goes on to win the tournament. That should have been mine.
Yeah, I mean Dominic Nietzsche tends to do that.
Yeah, he does it. Yeah.
Just before we go to the game, just waiting for these players to be ready. The GPL app is available on iOS and Android. That's the place to catch up on all previous GPL matches. As I said earlier, we are on game 142 of the GPL. So any one of those 141 games is catalogued on the GPL app. And merchandise store is also available there. And we're off to the game. Alexandre Luneau on the left and Igor Kurganov on the right.
Boom.
Here we go.
We're going to start off with a bang. 6-4 offsuit against Queen 10. That must be a big clash. No kidding. Probably going to be a pot not too big with 6 high for Igor.
Gonna have to wait for Igor Kurganov, guys. I'm hearing his webcam's crashed. He's chauffeuring in another webcam from one of his people out there in the I don't know.
Where is he? London.
He's in London, so guessing he's got a courier bringing over a new webcam.
It's probably going to cost a couple thousand in London, but you probably can manage to get a new webcam. Yeah.
Anyway, Alexandre Luneau, maybe we'll get a view. He's normally got a glass of wine on the go, as you'd imagine.
Worked as it should.
Piece of French cheese.
Oh, got to get some audio, I think.
There you go. That was really fast.
And that's how good Igor's, how well connected he is in London. He gets a new webcam. you know, instantaneously.
And we were already making bets on what kind of activity Liv would be doing in the background today.
Alexandre Luneau. I haven't
Alexandre
played with
Luneau.
him yet, I think, at all. But I have seen the documentary.
Uh-huh.
Would assume that he seemed like a very, very smart poker player. I would assume that he's playing just somewhat reasonable, probably on the looser side in No Limit. We'll see if it's true.
Flush draw for Luneau. Just a gut shot.
Happy to see Igor found his webcam and is talking, so we can get a glimpse of his strong poker thinking.
And that'd be Broadway for Igor.
Yeah, this pot ain't over yet. That's symbolically. Igor put a big ball of light in his head. Like, he's still playing with it. It's all fine. We can see him clear enough.
That's a nice river.
Igor with the nuts.
Wants Luneau to bluff at this spot, which makes sense.
And Luneau is thinking about something.
Decides not to do it. Good read.
Makes a sensible check back, gives it up.
And indeed, so far Luneau is a silent type. Very curious to see how he will play. Well, probably as curious as Igor is.
Yeah, we haven't had too much from Luneau from a sort of analytical standpoint. He's only played heads up once. Played the
okay.
Played in week 1, week 2 actually against Dario Sammartino. Sort of.
Yeah, I haven't seen that match.
It was, yeah,
I know Sammartino as being relatively wild.
Yeah. Dario is pretty competent,
enthusiastic
player on the GPL. And both of them had a sort of glass of wine on the
really
go.
good at bluff and to raise. It feels like he'll. No.
Looks like we're going to see some small pots to start the match. A 3x from Luneau. It's interesting to see. Most players tend to stay like around the 2.5x. So it would be nice to see why he does that. Most likely reason is that he
kind of close-ish. He's making it fairly big as an open.
Yeah, that he feels a bit more comfortable.
Not wanting to type something in. I think he did also open 9 deuce suited.
That's also an explanation. He might want to make the effective stack size a bit smaller by raising a bit bigger, because he thinks he is better at that stack depth relatively to how he is deep stacked to Igor. Might be. Suited hands, so action guaranteed. And the first 3-bet, I think, with a hand that could have seen a flop, but plays very nice in the 3-bet pot as well. And Luneau obviously in the no-brainer call with ace-jack suited. Igor probably going for a second barrel on a lot of turns, and especially this one. Luckily for Luneau, he doesn't have a pair or anything to pay off.
Luneau's been a pretty consistent performer for the Paris Aviators. Always has scored some points in his 7 matches.
Very good read from Igor here, that Luneau might still have nothing very often. Especially because he doesn't have like a super strong flush himself, so he decides to go for a check call. And it works out pretty well, because he gets an extra bet.
Interesting that he decided to bet that.
Yeah, just another quick thing on Luneau's record. Won 2 6-max matches, 2 third places and 2 fifth places. Scored 28 points for the Aviators. So 55%
You
of points
calling
have been available to
really
him.
hard, I guess. Very good.
Lots of Paris this hand. It's kind of an action killer.
Yeah.
I mean, not that Igor would have lost his stack or something, but now they both have to take it easy. Probably one bet on the river if Luneau decides to value bet his ace. Can also go for a check call and hope for a bluff from Igor like in the last hand.
Bad feeling. Kind of feel like I have to call this hand though.
Why, Igor? Explain it to us. We want to hear your thoughts. Yeah, he's kind of a bluff catcher. He's not really happy.
I'll go with my feeling.
Yeah.
Very good.
Nice.
Good laydown from Igor.
Not sure how much of that is relevant. It's mostly like timing dependent.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we call it feeling, but that's also like intuition that comes from a wide database of experience and having picked up like certain tells, even subconsciously. So very good that he can listen to that and make a good fold. Sometimes you don't even know consciously what makes you fold, but can definitely be a good source of information, your subconsciousness.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit inspirational, like how you say, like spiritual, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of value in there. You just need to unlock it. Pair of sixes. Probably gonna take down this hand.
Holding through to that river.
Unless Igor decides to make a very big bet. Yeah, that's not big enough to make Alexandre fold his six. Alexandre chipping back up.
An up and down ride for Igor in the GPL so far. Got swept by George Danza in his first outing. Bounced back with wins against Bill Perkins and Dario Sammartino.
Sweep wins, or
only been swept
2-1
once.
wins.
Swept, only been involved in one sweep, and that was
Okay,
the opening sweep to George Danza. He lost to Fader in the cube, beat Bryn Kenny in the cube, and lost to Mike Leyer last week. So
great matchups if you hear it like that.
Flush draw.
Some big names in this
Luneau.
league.
You're not wrong there, Stephen.
King high. Probably hard to lose too much money with this hand for Igor. Not weird at all that he decides to fold it straight away. $50 big blinds effective, so a min raise is doing the job for Igor.
Luneau flops best here. Igor has got that little baby flush draw.
Yeah, it's like a flip, if they can see the cards. Not anymore now.
Could this get checked down? Possibly.
Yeah, very likely. Igor has like additional outs, and there he is. So you don't want to be check raised off your flush draw that might be live. Which is not going to happen very often. But, Flush.
Flush wins. Flush beats a pair.
In France, that would be un couleur
Couleur, yeah.
for Alexander,
yeah.
but he knows that.
I hear that every now and again in live games in Malta.
Yeah,
I think the Italian players say it as well. Cola.
Yeah, might be. And Alexander is still 2.5 xing instead of the 2 xing from Igor.
All piece for these guys.
Igor not folding, stop pair. Now everybody has a little something. Interesting board.
He had consistent sizing so far.
Probably check down.
His open raises were very but
Bet from
I want
Igor.
to test the
I'm gonna
hand
go for
strength
value here.
so
Yeah.
far.
Ooh, and
Snaps it off.
Alexandre Luneau wasting no time there. I mean, that was similar speed to the Voltroy call.
This might have even been faster, yeah. But I mean, he had a pair as well, and a bunch of draws from Igor that might have missed. So yeah, he's not wasting any time with this flush blocker. Alexandre not here to fool around.
He's
Betting his third pair for protection, and no, I can hardly call it value because there's not very many hands that are going to call with less, but basically he makes the bet to take down the pot and prevent Igor from realizing his equity. But Igor already having the strong top pair. Looks like Alexandre is contemplating to turn this hand into a bluff to make okay, or this looks more like very thin value. Looking for a call from 4x or ace high.
Why does he think for so long? Is he inducing with something? Kind of a weak hand to make a raise with. Also kind of
20 spot for Igor. Feels he has pretty much always the best hand, but doesn't know if it's strong enough to raise.
I don't mind raising.
Can't blame him.
Having sometimes a 3-bet by him. Because what he bets just looks too much like 7-8 or not even a weak 10.
This is the French style.
Luneau.
He already started doing it on a turn. Like the turn was definitely not a street where I'm raising him often. So the turn was not inducey, but probably just kind of like what he wants to bet. So I'm a little bit less scared of exactly what just
There we
happened.
go.
So should have been a bit more scared.
Interesting situation for Igor.
Pretty high level stuff here.
Yeah, he's analyzing already if it was an induce or not.
Very bottom of what I wanted to raise, and I probably shouldn't even have. So it's definitely a very foldable thing here.
And Alexandre going with this feeling that Igor was not super strong.
I don't think the sizing expects to be folded too often too. But why not? I am curious though.
Yes, for this price you have to be curious against the French guy that might be bluffing you, I guess. And he probably knows the reputation of Alexandre somewhat, like being a very high stakes regular capable of making bluffs. Yeah.
I mean,
Difficult decision. I mean, he should take a stand
The
because
race
it
must
is.
expect to get so few folds.
What is he gonna do? What do you think?
I think he might side put it in.
Yeah. Looks like he's the curious thing is gonna have the stronger part of him.
And last time he did bet small, but this time he thought about it way longer.
I mean, just such an interesting hand.
10 more minutes on his clock. He can
Doesn't
think for a
really make
while.
sense, does it? Just call against any size.
Wow.
I'll just
Yep.
go with what I think is
Very nice bluff. Good read from Alexandre.
the correct play, given that this is the weakest hand that I'm raising for value.
Yeah, that is a good argument that on the long run he's not like exploited because he has a lot of stronger hands he's raising with.
Very likely that I should have just called. I'm not happy about that play.
Not sure if Igor's watching the stream, but it will be really interesting to see his reaction
Might have
when he
gotten me well then.
sees the actual hand.
Well, he's already not happy now, and he will probably be even less happy when he sees that he's being bluffed.
Yeah, it's kind
But
of
he's
high
still,
level.
yeah.
It's
High
not
level
likely
river
a
play
c-bet,
there.
but I've just not checked behind. It's definitely a c-bet actually.
And of course, it would be very nice to hear Alexandre's thoughts. something in the range of, I think Igor is very often still raising very light, and I can probably bluff him off the best hand here. But there must be more than that in that French head going on. I would love to hear it, but you know, maybe later.
I mean, when Alexandre Luneau put out that rule bet, I thought Igor's probably just going to call here, and then just things.
Yep.
It'd be a little bit thin to raise this.
But that's
spot.
poker. That's high level thinking, aggressive poker. I like it. And I said I was hoping for fireworks, and we do get fireworks.
We lit that fuse in that hand.
600, 1200 we're playing now. Queen 7. Kind of nice to check because it can get a lot of help and pick up a lot of equity from straight draws and live overcard on a board where you might get check raised off your equity if you bet too often.
Follow the GPL on Twitter, guys. Let us know what your thoughts are on this match or any of the previous matches or the upcoming match. Also, your thoughts on the commentary duo. The new duo of myself, Roland in the Boothby, and my my Dutch guest, Steven van Zadelhoff.
Right here.
Yeah. My bearded partner.
They can't hear it on the stream that I have a beard though, but
they see
have
you.
to believe
They see you every now and again.
Yeah, not now. No. Not too many beards. Igor has a beard. Yeah, good. Okay, he has a good hand actually, Igor.
That made the hand easier.
And still, this is kind of a suck out because now they chop it off. Alexander got what he was looking for when he made the raise on the flop. Taking his time now. See if he wants all the money to go in on the river and with what sizings.
If I jam and it doesn't have a 2-pair here, I think he would just call and check it. So we'll let him bluff, blocking the flush draws a little bit, which is nice. Having less diamonds on the river to come. Oof. Actually was exactly what we were afraid of with the King 9.
Igor seeing the screen.
Like
yes. Oh, nice.
Bad 7, yeah.
Nice to hear him.
Bad 5.
Watch it, see it back. Calling the straight, chop it up, guys. Yeah, Igor is informed now that he was bluffed earlier by Alexander. So is he gonna give him less credit now, or is he gonna assume that Alexander knows it now that he knows it? That's the question. Is Alexander gonna keep spewing, or is he gonna tighten up? We'll see it. We're gonna go to next level in 30 seconds, so next hand will probably be 800, 1600.
Yeah, I feel like that play, well, that exact play was possibly a sort of once a season kind of thing on the duo. I don't think I've seen that exact play, like small bet to induce.
Yeah, these exact sizings might be
followed by a small re-raise. I mean, it's the first time I've seen that kind of.
It's not very
action.
common. It's not very common anymore.
You see now and again the kind of small river bet to induce a raise followed by a call.
Yeah, I mean then you have like a hand, like a medium strong hand, and you think you can let your opponent bluff, but when he actually value raises and you decide then that now my hand's not strong enough anymore to call, then you have two options, and one of them is to raise again, which is very dangerous because, like Igor already said, this was the bottom of his range. So Alexander would have walked into in a wide range of very strong hands that would have snapped him off. But it worked this time, so he might have picked up like a timing tell or anything.
If he has a 7, he has a 7.
And he does.
And he does.
7. Can't really fold my hand here.
Yeah.
I have not flush draw blockers, which are like his most likely checked flush draws. So he's not having a flush. He's not betting a bad 7 with that size.
Shout out Nanonoko. Thanks for the commentary, guys.
Cool. Welcome.
Thanks for the action.
Thank you
Nano.
for the commentary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we just kind of called the action. So tried to, you know, give you an idea of what was, what the various smiles of
Yeah,
you meant.
you were strong on that side. Yeah. I think the viewers have a better idea what Vov Troy means now if he smiles.
And that's, you know, I aim to provide an insight into these guys via their smiles.
The match is open, 50k for both players. Around 32 bigs. 31 something. Pair of eights and a gut shot that might actually be check raised by Luneau, depending on how he sees Igor's c-bet range. Wide enough to peel as well, which he does.
Definitely check the flop in my hand as well.
Is Alexandre gonna bluff it? Is the question. Definitely has some 4x, queen x, 7x. And the board is not super draw heavy, so...
We're blocking some of his draws. So that run out is not very favorable for our calling the river.
And he will probably not bet any 7.
I think something like ace 5, which I'm not sure he does. It's not fault.
Those hands might be in his range, yeah, with his sizing. But it's relatively polarized to like a medium top pair or air. Or better, of course. Rejam from Igor, a bit less than 30 bigs. I think the best way to play your small pocket in this particular case, where Alexandre seems to be raising still a lot of buttons. Both guys haven't limped a lot yet.
We'll start limping.
Yeah, that's the effect that relatively big resteals like this have, that both players are going to be induced to limp more to prevent being blown off their equity pre-flop.
Interesting turn cut, gives Alexandre Luneau a pair. Igor picks up the flush draw. Bit of a bricky river card.
Decides to not bet it, Igor, because he already has queen high, so the only thing he can make fold is like a king high or a better queen. Alexandre would not have folded this 4, so. Alexandre still raising. I mean, it's not like they have the stack that is being restealed that much. Ah, okay, we went to 1000, 2000, so actually the guys have a big incentive now to start limping more. Which we're probably gonna see if we get some more 3-bet jams. And from now on, we'll be playing only one player. Because Alexandre decided to... Oh, okay, no, he's coming back pro.
I decided to, I mean... look, we're getting like the funky floral number, and now, I mean, that's going to get replaced by some sort of like generic grey cardigan.
This is his way of saying the action is cooling down. He needs to stay warm. I think we are going to see action, actually, because they are effectively 21 big blinds deep now. 22-ish. Igor taking it down with this top pair. Curious to see if Alexandre will keep raising or starts limping at some point. And there he goes. Igor's hand is kind of trashy, so that actually is an argument to raise it sometimes if you think the first limp is weak. Which it is not. But he will find out. Because an ace is pretty strong heads up.
Even though we have a horrible hand, but let's see.
Well, the good thing is you can snap fold it, Igor. If Alexandre indeed decides to limp shove it, which he does. Oops, says Igor. Yeah. Yeah, it's a funny dynamic how you interpret the first limp. We used to say the first limp is always nothing, but that definitely is not true anymore in this time. And Alexander did really well inducing with that hand. Feeling that Igor might perceive his first limp to be weak and attack it with a very wide range, which he did. I think it's safe to assume that if you do it with ace deuce, 8 deuce off, that you are raising a wide range. Or it might be his lucky hand.
Yeah, I feel like the it's a hand you're not going to get attached to.
No. He had no. It didn't seem like
the min click back.
Didn't seem like he had a problem folding it.
You're not going to get curious with it.
A dominating hand actually, but no super unlucky flop for Igor. Anything with an 8 on the table is pretty nasty unless there's a 7 as well.
Top pair for Alexandre Luneau.
Igor might decide to bluff it. Small. And he does.
Biggest hand we have pretty much. Any like 6-7 already I would have bet on the turn, so I kind of feel like obligated to bluff this one. Even 6 deuce with a cut shot, etc.
Is a hand where Luneau could go for thin value? Yeah.
Yeah, top pair feels pretty strong here.
Needs to.
Igor could definitely be value betting less.
Well.
Might have bluffed there as well. The king is kind of in his check behind range.
Igor didn't think about clicking it back, like Alexander did before. That would have been interesting.
Huge flop for Igor here. Nut flush draw. Bottom pair for Luneau. Good to see a few more chips going. Luneau has a few backdoor possibilities. There's the flush for Igor.
Yeah, I think of it now. Igor was watching the stream. He has it on a different monitor probably. I was thinking of yesterday that Faraz heard us talk as well. He was listening to all our commentary simultaneously to playing. That must be quite distracting. So
yeah, I mean, it was. I mean,
he can multitask.
Tiny bit distracting for us.
Hearing
our voices.
No, I mean, for him, he must have been multitasking, like listening to us and watching the game back to gather information and play at the same time. Also like short-handed, so yeah. I mean, of course, he's used to 15 tabling online as well.
Here.
Big bet from Igor.
Ooh.
Wow,
And,
kind of a hero call by Luneau. Even without a flush
snapping it off.
That he most likely had like a 9 or a 5.
And he did. That's a big hand there. Brings Igor back to close to starting stack.
Oof.
What did Igor see on the
He
stream?
did have 5-8 against my 8. Blocking, but it didn't matter.
Got bluffed again, he sees now. He's probably not gonna fold too much anymore against Alexander from now on. We'll see him as the aggressive Frenchman. You don't want to be bluffed 3 times in one game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you still win it, it doesn't matter, I guess, but yeah.
Really fun to see the guys' reactions when they
I
see a hand that they're kind of been wondering about.
Definitely could have continued on the 5.
I see a lot of value in it. Alexander doesn't seem to have a stream open to watch the rest of the hands, but you never know. He might have.
I could be wrong. I mean, I feel like Alexandre Luneau he's not really giving off the demeanor of someone who like watches back too much GPL.
No,
I think he just does his business.
He's playing. He loves playing, and that's what he came for, to win this match. Igor takes it down with the suited ace. No surprises there. 8-3 suited, strong enough to see a flop. They both have a little something here.
I mean, Igor could lose a bet or 2 here.
Alexander can go both ways. Seeing his playstyle, I think he elects for a check raise here. Which he does, especially with a flush draw on board. You're perceived to have a bunch of bluffs. So. And Igor, bad news for Igor on the turn when he picks up equity. Or yeah, might be good news when a club rolls off in the river, of course. But so far, it's
bad news in the short term.
Yeah, it's gonna mean that he's gonna lose another bet that he might have been able to save on a blank turn. Alexander will still feel very strong, and on most rivers he will just bet the rest of his stack probably. If he bets like 10,000, he gets like, yeah, the last 26 in 36 on the river from Igor. Chooses a size that he could do with flush draws as well. And Igor can probably not do much else than call here. And hope for a club, of course, which he doesn't get. Interesting river card.
This is don't have to call the river anymore.
Yeah, no. This is actually a river that Alexander is not very happy with.
A ton of stronger hands here.
It's going to be very hard for Igor to call with a lot less than Alexander has now. So.
I don't think he'll bluff always when he doesn't have it.
No, that wouldn't be good. Plus, Igor has a couple clubs in his hand that block some more bluffs that Alexander could have.
And Igor will discover that he wasn't bluffed on this hand.
Yes. Yeah, I just said he probably doesn't want to fold too much anymore. He really had a weak hand now. Like, definitely not a good bluff catcher. So, on this board, that would be.
This would be it.
Boom. Showdown.
The king 8 can hold.
This was 11 bigs, right? Yeah. 10, 11. Yeah.
Safe flop for Alexandre. Safe turn.
No queen or jack.
Queen or jack needed for Igor. Or we'll be going 1-0 up. Or the Aviators will be going, not we. The Paris Aviators will be going.
Not too much Igor could do here. Except from not being bluffed a couple times, but there were definitely difficult spots. So, yeah, kind of a grinding match. A lot of small pots, so, yeah.
And really some sort of aggressive, you know, let's go and win that pot kind of plays from Alexandre Luneau.
We did see a lot of checkdowns as well, and then small bluffs on the river, which make a lot of sense. Like, cool. And then some very big pots.
Yeah, and I guess the biggest pot was the pot we see. I mean, it's probably going to get discussed in various spots, you know, in the future. But yeah, just your take on the small river lead by Alexandre Luneau.
That one was definitely interesting.
River, the fairly thin river raise by Igor, followed by the almost click back from Alexandre Luneau.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, he doubles like the bet that Igor makes. Igor already explained quite well himself. Like, he makes a value raise, and after that he gets 3-bet on the river, and he more or less has like the minimum that he would have made the raise with. So which means you're gonna pay with everything that's a lot stronger. So if you always call, you're probably calling too much. So that was the strongest argument he had to fold the bottom of his range now, which makes kind of sense. Like, otherwise, he might be calling off and paying off too much. But he's been bluffed a couple times now, so next time in this particular spot, he might.
Yeah, I think we've got to give that one to Alexandre Luneau. They made a really nice couple of bluffs there. Got Igor to fold the best hand on a couple of occasions. We saw Igor's reaction as he watched the stream.
Ooh, not happy there.
One of our favourite things on the GPL is watching when a player's reaction to him getting bluffed or making
cool for us to see Igor
crazy laydown,
being very engaged in the match.
Yeah,
and
Igor will be slightly disappointed there because he did go down 2-1 to Mike Leyer last week of the same team, Alexandre Luneau's teammate at the Paris Aviators. And so, you know, losing the first game, as we always say in the GPL, really puts a player under pressure. We see the players who win the first game often feeling very relaxed, you know, feeling confident, willing to try
3 points in the pocket.
3 points in the bag, trying a few more funky things.
It's not best of 3 or anything. They just play like every match for the same amount of points.
The 3 points are there.
He's just definitely willing to fight for the second one or the third one. Just you pick up every point that you can get. So.
Yeah. I guess card distribution not really helping Igor there. We saw Luneau flop trip tens with Igor holding
pick up
pair, and he picks up a flush draw. And, you know, it keeps you in for another bet. And, I mean, they're kind of spots where, you know, even if you're playing sort of perfect GTO poker, you're going to lose a bet in those spots. And, you know, your stack's going to sort of whittle down a little bit. And, you know, we were up to the 12-24 level. You know, by that level, you know, lose a couple of pots.
Yeah. I haven't been able to spot a lot of mistakes, so we'll see in the next match how they do, and if we can spot a lot of mistakes.
Yeah,
we're ready.
Just a reminder, we're waiting for these guys just to be ready for the second game. The last game of the night is, of course, Dominic Nietzsche of the Berlin Bears against Timothy Adams of the Rome Emperors. This is a match that, you know, that sort of definitely jumps off the page. Two real kind of high-level thinkers,
strong
two players who very, you know, don't make a lot of mistakes, and will hopefully be sort of giving us a masterclass in heads-up poker.
Who would you put your money?
Well, Timothy Adams is the informed player on the GPL. Had a pretty rough start. Lost, I think he lost his first 3 or 4.
How much are we going to
heads up matches, and he's come back strong, and he's now fighting like a Roman emperor would.
I'm going for my boy Dominic.
Makes any sense?
10 euros.
Dominic Nietzsche. 10 euros. Come on. I mean, I think I made it.
Or a drink. So Let's go. Go get him, Dominic. First, we have to see the last game.
Yeah,
of
we
this
know.
match,
We've got 2 more games. Two more games in this match between Igor Kurganov and Alexandre Luneau. Just a reminder, if you want to follow the conversation, let us know what you think of the GPL, of the commentary duo, and anything thus far on the GPL.
Oh, you weren't talking to me. Okay.
Follow us at GPL on Twitter. Use the hashtag GPL. And of course, we have an application, which I'm sure you've downloaded by now.
Of course.
iOS or Android?
On my Android.
Yeah. And what's been your favorite feature of the GPL TV app?
Replays of the commentary, of course. This great duo.
Have you had a chance to enter the merchandise store?
Not yet.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure once you get your paycheck from GPL, it'll be the first place you go. Did you
After
tell us
I go to the pub, you mean?
down to Patcheville. Anyway, we're just waiting for these. Apologies for the slight delay, guys. We're waiting for these guys to, retake their seats for the second game. Igor is, giving himself a pep talk. His Liv Marie is, in the. I don't know, the study, and she's giving him a dressing down.
He was working with the camera as well. Maybe he is changing his setup. Apparently, he didn't like too much. Might have something to do with the new webcam he was looking for.
Webcam issues. But we're going to get to the next game pretty soon. If you're watching on Twitch, do not refresh your stream. We're hearing some, in my ear, some server issues with the Twitch stream. All Twitch servers are down. And if you're watching on Twitch and you are watching successfully, do not refresh because you will be plunged into the server chaos that has engulfed the world of Twitch. Don't refresh your stream. Just carry on listening to us. And we're going to be getting to that next game pretty soon. As we say there, a few technical difficulties with Twitch. We're going to get to the game as soon as we can. Looking ahead to the last game, as I say, Rome Emperors and Berlin Bears, the bottom 2 sides in this franchise.
Let's see, 126 points for the Berlin Bears and 122 for the Rome Emperors. Both looking for points because the next team is the Aviators on 130 points, and they just picked up 3.
Well, yeah.
They both need, more or less equally need the points to make the playoffs. 3 more weeks after this. So it's going to be
things are really hotting up here at the GPL. Just a reminder of where we stand. This is week 11 of online studio action. And after this phase has concluded, the players, the teams, well, the top 4 teams in each conference will be heading off to the Cube in Las Vegas. That is a 2D representation of the Cube. Anyway, they'll be off to Las Vegas, where the top 4 teams in each franchise will be playing it out for $100,000 to the winning team. One of those teams could be the Paris Aviators. One of those teams could be the London Royals. Off we're going to go to the game. There we go. A masterclass
with Ace King straight away. You talk a lot.
Filibustering.
I thought I talked a lot. No.
Well,
you do very well.
The thing is, Stephen, sometimes these guys decide to go to the toilet between games.
Why?
And
Why?
Then
they can do that in their own time.
We're stuck on our faces, and
we're not walking away if we need to go to the toilet, right? Oh, we shouldn't tell people that. Queen 6. Igor is thinking, or not particularly thinking. He's probably slowly making his way back to his seat or working with his webcam. Again, we don't have a visual on Igor, so we don't know what he's doing.
And Alexandre Luneau hoping that Igor gets back to his seat in time.
He's
to,
like, Ace King,
please come back to your seat. Please come back to your seat. And
we are ready to gamble.
Yeah.
Alexander lives in Paris?
I'm hearing that Igor has suffered a connection issue of some kind. Oh,
he's back. I was just going to say I can stand in for him and play for a bit, and I would probably have made something like the same raise, and I probably would have folded by now. So yeah, Igor might too.
Here they are, guys.
Back online, London. Decent internet connection, I would say.
Pretty good, London. Yeah, I mean, it's a AAA plus capital. With high-speed broadband connection throughout the
maybe
Greater London area.
We'll say something about it, or he just goes back in full action.
We keep swapping height when I notice our little break segments, so I'm gonna have to like. Oh,
I just had some fruit, so I might
check.
be bigger now.
It's week 6.
Pair and
Kind of
3
stable
pairs.
6 with a spade.
So a lot less strong of a hand than it sounds.
We're probably winning, and we have a bunch of draws. I'll be calling like a king 8, 5. Make some value and probably check the river, and now we will happily bet the river, given that he's always basically check raised the 7 or did something else. So, hope he has a 5, even though there are not that many 5s around. But all of our draws busted. So I assume to get some calls.
Good first hand for Igor.
But probably won't, because we will possibly check back 8s. 9s in his opinion.
Alexander with a creative gaze in his eyes. I don't think he would do something else than calling too often. But we've seen him make other creative plays, so who knows. There he goes, makes it a fold with a full house.
interesting.
Very interesting, very interesting. And it was a good fold against the higher full house from Igor. And Igor will see this after a couple minutes, so he's probably going to be disappointed again. Yeah, we'll hear what he has to say. Very good fold there from Luneau.
Wish I wasn't clicking so fast, because it already looks like I want to play faster, and now I want to also check raise this hand.
Bunch of runners for Igor. Might actually get.
That's because we have a bit of backdoor equity over card. The board is one which people see a bit too much.
Interesting.
On some turns, I was gonna say, and this is not one of them.
It's an interesting card.
Decides not to continue barreling.
We've checked the flush before.
Jack of hearts for the sickness.
I think I'll check raise again. Which seems a bit loose, but he'll probably bet a 9. We'll expect us to continue often, and we get him to bet hands, as we've seen that were too often bet by him, but actually wouldn't necessarily have to be bet.
Yeah, Igor referring to one of the first hands of the match, where he said out loud that he was kind of surprised by a hand that Luneau bet. It's not gonna work, this check raise, because Luneau
is a bit too weak to check call, I think.
Outs.
So it has some equity.
And the question is, will Igor ever
Probably betting a 9 and now having a hard time, I believe. He might be betting ace highs, as we've seen, or pocket 8s or something. He did call, and we did river, no help whatsoever. Don't think we can credibly sell many smart jams here.
He does block a flush, but is that enough reason to...
And we will have gotten out a bunch of hands we wanted to get out. We did give up. He probably has a pretty strong hand, like a 4, yeah.
Interesting check back from Luneau.
Well, we had our hard equity.
Alexander doesn't seem like a type that folds too much, so it's kind of understandable that Igor doesn't want to be over bluffing there.
Call that against the keyboard.
In terms of Luneau's check back there, did you find that pretty standard, or like could
it's very hard to get value from less. Like if Igor had a flush, he would have bet by now. So yeah, probably standard.
And he
needs to have Igor call with a 4, which he probably would not check raise on the flush board. So yeah, does make a lot of sense to not take unnecessary risk by betting. You can bluff catch, but yeah, probably has a good feel for the game.
So, Luneau got into an early chip lead here. Currently
2-1 already. Yeah.
0 up. 1-0 up against the
Might have been
London
timing
Ross.
aware there.
Igor doesn't look too happy. Got bluffed a couple times. He didn't make his draws a couple times, so he's not running too well. Probably eager to win some pots.
Running into some hands as well.
But he's like a super professional player, so he won't overreact to not winning for a couple pots. So. He'll just try to grind himself back into
Against
the
that
match.
size, we can check combos.
Kind of a float.
Backdoor hearts, dominating his 9x's, 9-8, 9-7. If we hit a 9, he checks. Still the best hand, often enough with a queen high. Not every ice high bets. It's only 1,000 into 3.
Big bet, an over bet from Alexander on a board where he can do this with like a lot of bluffs. Will not be very easy to call for Igor with a lot less hands. Like, yeah, probably king queen type of hands and combo draws with nut potential.
Shout out King Spades in the Twitch chat. Thank you for your kind words on the commentary.
What is he saying? We're doing a good job.
Well, I mean,
Maybe we'll find a way to win.
2 pair for Alexander now.
I mean, I always like to be self-deprecating, but he says commentary on the second half of the GPL much better than the first.
On a king or on an ace, I feel like we would have won most often. Of course, the 10 gives us the straight. 9, I feel like with the size he's chosen, gives us often enough the best hand, given that it's more likely to better with an 8.
Again, big sizing from Alexander, hoping for an Igor that gets irritated and calls just to see what he's doing at one point.
Thanks for your comments on Twitch, guys. We always like to hear comments, good and bad, so feel free to let loose. We'll try and be constructive.
Yeah, I can't say it's my first time now because it's my second day already, so if I do something stupid now, I have to take the blame for it.
I feel like you've had a microphone in front of you before.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of instruction videos like back in the day, but that's different, I guess. Then you're not actually...
Live TV, pressure.
That was not, yeah, that was a lot less live. I could just, if I was about to say something stupid or I did say something stupid, I could just pause and go back.
Yep.
It's
no
alright.
hiding. No hiding on live TVs,
No.
Stevie.
I mean, I don't even mind making mistakes or saying something stupid. Sometimes it happens. You're here to do your best and have
It was
fun.
deeper at 3 bet.
Dominating suited king for Igor now, but
Pretty close.
not like a
That's
death
my
flop
size.
for
Checks,
Alexander. No 9 on board. I should stop talking when Igor is trying to explain because I'm also curious. Not only the viewers will be curious what he's saying, I'm also curious myself.
Probably our losers. Except if he checks back with a single king. We need
Kind of an anticlimax.
have to start mixing again.
Good flop for Igor, but we already see Alexander's hand, and that's not an action board for Alexander.
Oh, almost saw a smile from Alex Luneau there.
No,
No,
probably not.
probably
Like
probably some
itch.
sort of neck twitch. Something that causes his lip to like deviate.
He's
from
taking
its-
this serious.
Slightly deviate from its normal
Igor
position.
is looking serious. Well, it's a serious match. They both are facing world-class competition.
Not really good cards this round. A lot
They
of
will
bottom
come.
5 to 10%ers.
They will come, Igor. No worries.
At least you don't lose a big pot with them.
You can tell that both these guys are playing from London. Here we're back on Twitch, guys. Thank you for those who stayed patient. And well done to those who didn't refresh. Very few things I had to say ever get obeyed.
Queen 5 for Alexander is definitely not gonna fold this hand. I probably wouldn't raise a lot myself here, but I can see Alexander do it with his aggressive style. There's a lot of draws on board now, so if you raise, you kind of know that Igor will be
We have more
tempted
queens than him.
to put his draws in with this stack depth. Actually, I might be actually nice on this board because there's so many draws. Yep, there he goes.
Doesn't matter apparently.
He's not folding. After he raises, Igor has to fold his jack high, of course. Igor getting punished, I think that's what he's gonna feel here. And he is...
Two pretty hands here.
Yeah, he's just too deep to get it in, he thinks, pre-flop. Makes sense to go to the flop. And this hand is not gonna be very big, but it ain't over with a nut gut shot for Alexander. Not the best board, but he might feel, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this is a hand that could have got Alexandre Luneau into a bit of trouble on certain.
Yeah, well, the hand is not over yet.
But,
we have seen some
yeah,
other
gets away from
aggressive
this one
plays
fairly
from
soon.
Alexander, so yeah. He might just decide to bluff raise this river, right? Would be fancy.
Big shout out to Darren Elias of the Sao Paulo Metropolitans. He's going for his third WPT final table at WPT Maryland.
As we speak.
As we speak.
There you go. Nice, good job.
Only 4 players have won 3 WPTs.
I'm not one of them.
No. One of them is GPL.
Gus Hansen?
One of them is GPL star Anthony Zinno.
Exactly.
The other is Gus Hansen. Do you know the other two?
I think so, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I'm not a walking database. Like,
No, I know, I am. And certainly Eric Danis is.
My friend Kenny.
Chino
Okay.
Ream and Carlos Mortensen are the other two.
I could have known, yeah. I mean, I've seen the guys. I remember watching my first WSOP main event on an online stream. I think that was the one with Carlos.
Okay.
What year was that? That must have been like 2001 or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
2002.
Before,
nah, Carlos was
before
maybe
I
a bit
got
later.
into.
Yeah, well.
I mean,
500, 1000. We are 25 big blinds deep, effectively. The short stack from Igor.
yeah, the first thing that got me into poker was the watching Jamie Gold win the 2006 main event, which I found pretty entertaining. And
That was actually my first main event.
and then never looked back. Poker got me, and I had it.
That was a very
Here
interesting...
we are now, commentating the GPL.
That was a very interestingly big main event of the World Series.
That
It was the first one I played.
Okay.
Of 11, I think, right? So yeah, I wasn't very successful. I think I was out before the first break.
Yeah,
that one. So that's why Jamie Gold
Yeah,
could win it. Yeah.
Eventually, Jamie Gold ended up with everyone's chips.
Yep.
So
Another small hand on the 500, 1000 level.
also Kate Hall on another WPT final table. She's
Yeah, it's
Don't expect him to
That's
fold it.
insane.
Just
small,
something like a better jack or a queen.
small hand, but
sometimes even a
interesting
king maybe.
Alexander actually thinking about calling his queen high. Or, I was gonna say, God knows what he is thinking about. He's gonna bluff it. Another nice bluff. I don't know if Igor would have folded again with a pair here, so he might have been good with the call, but we'll never know probably. Maybe if Igor sees it back on the stream.
pretty interesting flop here.
This is an action board, yes, I would say.
It's indeed 2001 when Carlos Mortensen won the main event. Good shout.
Yeah, I was on internet on a how do you say, call-in modem on a very bad connection,
yeah.
listening to the internet radio stream, and I drew out on a paper all the stacks and the names, and that way I was trying to follow what was going on in America. It was pretty romantic, I must say. That was my first experience with the main event of the World Series. 2000. It might have been the year before that I started doing that. No, whatever. The best hand for Igor, because Alexander didn't manage to improve.
Who knows?
Igor probably done folding.
King queen or anything. That's
He's a straight. Wait, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
Hand. I thought he was gonna call with his 10. He might raise it straight here. Yeah, nothing weird about
The
that.
7 was a pretty good card for Igor's
Yeah.
hand.
I mean, he was ahead already. So there we go. Alexander
Snap
folding.
fold.
Of course, his queen high.
Lines up to 6-12.
Queen 7, pretty good hand. Heads up with the shallow stacks. 5 high, not so much. And actually 5 high is getting a bit better now, but I'm not able to put in a lot of money on this board, but he doesn't have to, it looks like. Yeah, Igor, not a lot of reason to start bluffing with king high.
Pretty sure that hand not going to make the highlights reel.
Hey, you never know.
You never know. Depends on how our editors are feeling.
The guy started limping now, makes a lot of sense. They both like playing pots, they don't want to be blown off their equity by 3 bets. A lot of limping, quite a decent amount of checking to get to later streets. We would have figured that was weak like 8 years ago, and now we know that's actually one of the best ways to play certain spots, by being passive enough to use your skill. Pair 7s would like some protection from all the equity that overcards have on this board. No need to bet very big. Gut shot and a live card. So for this sizing, Alexander decides to call. Kind of a neutral card. 6 of clubs. It is a card that can get that Igor can get value on.
It's rejamming very many aces, so
from like 3, 4,
this is
etc.
pair 7, I'm betting that. Close.
A little over 20 big blinds. Alexander decides to limp his ace. Makes sense because he's not too happy if Igor 3 bets or 3 bet jams. So now he just sees a flop. And actually against a hand that he is dominating, so that's very nice. In the long run, that's gonna make you a lot of money.
It's gonna get checked down.
Cool.
Yeah, 4th pair by now.
Alexandre Luneau could have gone for a bit of value on the turn, but just elected to play it a bit snug.
And these hands look very strong, heads up. And actually, Luneau decides to put in more money out of position with a hand that plays very well post-flop. So. And he actually dominates Igor's hand. So.
There were a few action flops that could have come in this.
Oh
this,
yeah,
this
yeah,
wasn't one, this isn't one of them.
This is not one of them. No. Not even blue card on board.
I guess we could see it 9. now we're like scraping the barrel.
It's like bye bye. Some equity for Igor.
Yeah,
Runner flush.
Not
even floating on this board. Igor's still not happy. Come on, Igor, you can do it. Make the comeback. In 20 seconds, we're going to 800, 1600, so you have plenty of opportunities to get the money in.
Igor really doesn't fare too well against the Paris Aviators. Swept by George Danza. Defeated by Mike Leia.
And yeah, he does not like the French
He's in trouble against Alexandre Luneau.
1-0 behind. I hear some people around this place cheering for the French team. Well, I haven't picked side yet.
The garlic munchers are getting excited back in the production room. The French vampire, they're calling Alexandre Luneau.
That's what he looks like. Kind of a whitish face and a long neck. 2 pairs for Igor.
Of course, I have a beautiful river.
He's going for all the coins.
And obviously, he has the king fairly often, but he's aware of that. I feel he'll bet like 9 or jack there fairly big, fairly often. Now he'll pump him.
Yeah, Alexandre Luneau in trouble. I wonder if he makes the bluff catch.
He might have made it bigger if he had a stronger hand, because he seemed to do that most of the time.
Is Igor gonna raise for value or not? Probably is.
It's a fairly light raise, but I feel like it just most of the time has king 8, king 5, and whatever.
Ooh.
So let's get it
Very
in
good
there.
read.
Pretty nice read.
Brilliant read from Igor here. And he puts in the money, and Alexander, we have him
I
see
think he'll
making
call a king sometimes.
quick calls, and now he actually makes a relatively quick fold. and it's a very good fold.
Yeah, so Alexandre Luneau has shown some good instincts on tough river spots.
Made some very good plays here.
Nice read from Igor there. You don't amass $12 million.
He bets on the flop. King 3 even he might sometimes bet on the flop just with a min bet. I can do
here
something.
we have a situation.
We're committed to Jana.
This could be it. Oh.
Wow, this I find very interesting. From a mathematical viewpoint, I would like to review that hand later. I think your ace-3 suited is too strong to fold there.
And he folded very quickly as well, as if he,
especially
that kind of pre-planned
I mean,
what he was going to do.
If it is a fold, it's like super close. I don't think you can ever fold that. Of course, it all depends on the range you think Igor puts the money in with, but that can also easily include like non-ace-x hands, like Queen 10 suited type of hands that also flop well. But I mean, King High for sure, some King High. So I would probably snap it off there in Alexander's shoes. But I might have snapped it off on river spots where you made good folds. So 6 for an up and down for Alexander. Not gonna make any money in this hand. Yeah, he folded surprisingly fast there with his ace.
Yeah, it looked like he'd almost decided what he was going to do before Igor acted.
Yeah, which I think is kind of weird. I mean, it's not like Igor.
This could be curtains for
super
Kurganov
spewy in that spot, but he also has a lot of hands like this. You chop against a lot of the weaker aces as well.
Igor's going to need a funky run out here if he's not going to go broke.
Yeah, this is a good card for Igor to save money on the river, maybe on some rivers. Alexander gonna keep betting.
Could improve, I guess. I mean,
oh no, of course.
That's the only I think the only out here. But yeah, the Queen of Hearts is a card that may save Igor.
Yeah, I mean on an ace or a king, you can probably fold against decently sized bets, because it improves Alexander's range so much. That's a dangerous card for Igor. Still, he can.
Have straights, but he will represent them sometimes.
He can still fold
There's
against
a lot
all-in.
of straight bars that didn't hit.
All the Jack 9.
Basically, only
King
losing
Jack.
against the Queen or
Yeah,
a 2-pair. So I'll probably call with this hand.
The 5 in his hand
I think
does.
it's the best hand I can have to call, which is not one of the snap calls.
The 5 in his hand does block some straight draws as
Luck.
well, but he still hero calls,
Yes.
and it's not good.
Igor runs into aces there.
Yeah.
And rough start to the night for Igor Kurganov. His torment against the Paris Aviators continues. I mean, you know, he goes down to
2-0.
George Danza in a sweep, goes down to Mike Leyer last week in a really kind of evenly fought contest. And now, well, Alexandre Luneau, yeah, definitely getting the better of the kind of card distribution in that last game.
The French doing good
not really
business.
much Igor can do. The French guys back in our production crew are absolutely doing cartwheels.
Oh la la!
Oh la la! Oh my God!
C'est magnifique! Ah.
I mean, what
Good
was
match,
what was
fun
the-
match,
I mean,
fun
that was-
match so
I mean,
far.
Igor, you know, he called down, he flopped top pair against Luneau's aces. We thought the
Yeah.
Queen of Hearts may have got him away from it, but you know.
No, I
it
mean,
was-
the Queen of Hearts is a card that gives him some spots on the river to escape with like another ace or a king or whatever. Then he can fold. And on relatively blank runouts like this, he is going to call off every now and then. He probably can still fold every now and then as well. He probably mixes up like hands like this. It's pretty close, so yeah. He decides to call. It's not weird at all, because Alexander is very aggressive. He has been bluffed a couple times by Alexander already, so you know Alexander has a lot of draws that he will keep firing with on the river.
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, you call off every now and then. You have to. And you're up against pocket rockets. That's kind of a shitty situation.
Well, the sweep is on in this one, and the sweep was on for Igor last week in his tussle against Mike Leyer. He managed to salvage the that 3 points for the London Royals. So he's got his work out here. Alexandre Luneau definitely
Feeling strong now,
found himself
probably.
in plenty of spots where having the best hand, and spots where Igor felt he couldn't get away from his hand. One more match to come from this game. That will be coming up any minute now. Don't forget, at GPL on Twitter if you want to join the conversation. Any questions you might have for my co-commentator here, Stephen
Bring it on.
Van Zelenhoff.
I'm ready.
He is the 13th most successful tournament player in the history.
Am I on 13 or 14? That means,
well,
right?
you were on 13 yesterday, and unless like any of your kind of, I don't know who your rivals are. Like
probably nothing changed in that day.
Noah Boken or someone who's
yeah. A couple of the guys actually moved out of poker, I think. So I have some opportunities to move back into the top 10 if I do well in the next couple of years.
Your rivals aren't going to add to their totals.
Yeah, we're all getting old, you know. I mean, I might quit poker one day. Not likely, because I have nothing else. So.
I mean, unless this foray into commentary could prove successful.
Yeah.
I mean,
so far, it's fun. So
I mean, Lon McCarron and Norman Chad are getting on a bit.
They're doing good. They probably made more money doing commentary than I made with poker. So I mean,
yeah, they're doing okay.
Cool.
I mean, should we just look ahead to the last match tonight? I know we keep sort of building it up. Dominic Nietzsche, Timothy Adams, we've already fist pumped on.
If you want to build it up, €10, €20, you want to build up the match, I'm ready to gamble. I mean, that's what I'm here for.
I mean,
that's
earphones, I might bet you big, but I'm going to have to, sell some pieces. I don't know, €20 might be a bit steep.
Probably better not.
Big month of poker coming. I don't want to be
last game
unnecessary decisions with my bankroll. You got the Battle of Malta, EPT Malta.
Let's keep it friendly for now.
Let's get to the last matchup. Igor Kurganov trying to avoid a sweep here. He's moved to the left.
Another fresh 100 and something 25 bigs with a decent ante. No, not a big ante, like 10% ante, 10% of the big blind actually, so pretty standard. Igor, queen 3 off, dominated by the suited queen of Alexander. Yeah, they switched positions. The guy who's ahead came to my side. I don't know if that means anything, but
a lot of
go Igor, make the comeback, save your honor.
A lot of excitement coming into mine and Steven's earpieces. A lot of 66.6% of the production team are French here at the
do we get assistance?
GPL. So
I thought you came up with all those good stories yourself.
I haven't got a mute button on the.
You can just throw away the.
Bottom pair for Igor Kurganov, top pair for Alexandre Luneau. Sort of been the story of Igor's night.
Igor, will not feel very like he's running very well. He played really well, I think. I mean, they both played really well, made a couple of really strong decisions. So yeah, nothing he can do so far. Yeah, he can try to run a bit better. Bottom pair improves actually. Boom, there you go. We're speaking about running better, and you get help on the turn. Alexander is doomed to lose at least one more decent bet here, and maybe 2 medium ones. We've seen him make very good folds and very fast calls. Alexander, there you go. Alexander probably doesn't think his hand is strong enough now to make a big bet. So he can make like a smaller bet, like a medium bet, or decide to check call, which probably doesn't make a lot of sense either. His kicker still plays against smaller aces, so he can still go for a value-ish bet. Probably pretty close. The French vampire is thinking, while looking very serious. Yeah, the smaller bet came out and a snap from Igor. Alexander probably always has something like this when he makes this bet, but who knows?
Apologies to anyone we upset, or I may have upset with references, with garlic references. It's only because our French production crew are celebrating wildly in our ears every time Alexandre Luneau takes down a point. Okay,
which he did a couple times already, so good job for
He's taken down
you
6
guys.
points, so yeah, six times the French guys in my ears. Now, I just want to...
Nothing wrong with garlic, by the way.
So we got a repack in the house. I want you to answer this this comment. Mathematical viewpoint, W2F is this guy talking about, it's cards, there's no numbers calculations. How would you respond to that comment, Stephen?
I think I'm not sure what the question is. I'm still trying to pay some attention to that.
I'm going to come back to that one.
Yeah, what was the question?
Mathematical viewpoint, question mark, question mark.
There's some aces, of course.
What is this guy talking about? There's no numbers calculations, it's cards.
Oh, okay. Well, there's math behind the cards. That's what we call game theory. So if I say a mathematical viewpoint, I have to let Igor talk as well. I'm talking about the math behind the cards, the chances, the statistics, card distribution, how ranges do against ranges, and how you're supposed to play ranges theoretically. Interesting stuff.
So, would you say that if Repack in the house, if he feels there's no maths in poker, do you think could be a winning player or a player who has a lot to learn?
He has a lot to learn. I'm not saying he can be a winning player on some level, but yeah, I see some math in poker for sure. That's at least my experience. But yeah, I also see a lot of face card and pictures and stuff like that. So yeah, he is right to some extent. But I also see some math in poker. 300, 600 we're playing this time with again 10% ante, which heads up is not a big difference if the ante is big or not, but I'm used to always watching it closely because some games we play nowadays are with a very big ante, like 2.5 times, like 25% of the big blind, and if you have like 6 or 9 players on the table, that's a big difference in the amount of dead money that is to be picked up. Heads up, there's only 2 antes, so not too much of a difference. 6 deuce suited, raising the pot into a dominating hand. But again, not really a death board. 9-6 deuce would have been disastrous for Alexander. And we get to the river, and both guys actually have the same full house now. But since the jack is on board, the action is probably not going to explode in this one. Both players looking very seriously, thinking hard. Yeah, Igor snapping it off, of course.
So yeah, Igor's pulled into a nice little lead here.
Of course, he wouldn't get the river.
This is a.
Oh, this could. This,
yeah,
I mean, this hand
is a
could
good flop.
be the.
It's funny to see that Alexander snaps it off pre-flop with a hand that a lot of players would at least consider 3-betting, but that might be a dynamic issue as well. Like, there you go. This is going to be a big pot. The question is how big, and that's decided mostly by the river. Is it going to be clean or not? On a lot of rivers, we will see another bet go in, like another significant bet. Luneau, we've seen him raise more turns. I would say this is like the bottom of your value range you would ever want to raise the turn with. Igor hates his life right now. Oh my god, he feels it coming.
Incandescent with rage.
He feels it coming.
The river. It's at the full hard hits.
Oh la la, oh la la. This could be dangerous.
Ugh.
Igor's puking already. No flush blocker, and you're gonna be up
I
against
think raising like
flushes.
King Jack on the turn.
Maybe with a Jack of Hearts. Igor is not happy here.
Might be doing it with I think he'll be checking. He has the Queen of Hearts. He's raising with that.
You're getting a relatively
Not
good
that
price.
much. I have a bad feeling that we do have to call.
He knows he's beat
Igor
pretty
pays
often,
it off. Really
but his hand is so
a
strong.
run of cards for Igor Kurganov here, and the chip lead flips back to Alexandre Luneau, and Igor going to have to get back to work to avoid the sweep.
And here too, you have to take into account that Igor has seen that he's been bluffed a couple times by Alexander, so not necessarily in similar spots as this one, but he knows that Alexander is on the aggressive side, so both with bluffs and maybe with lesser value hands. he feels he has to call, and still he knows he's beat pretty often, but yeah, for that price, it's hard to fold your set.
This pot could escalate a little.
Yeah.
Still pretty deep.
That's too small reason
Four-eight.
I wasn't defending against his 3-bets enough. Might have been the case.
Oh, an action flop.
An action flop,
That
top
was more
pair
hand dependent, surely.
against a pair and a lot of bonuses.
Yeah, the royal flush. I don't think we've ever seen a royal flush on the Global Poker League.
Well, there's the first time for everything.
First time for everything.
Queen, Jack 10, Jack 9, he's check calling. Could have even made it a bit bigger. But I'm not stabbing that board that often.
Okay.
Nice safe card for Igor for
Safe
once.
card for Igor. He has a club blocker. A little less chance to give Alexander a flush, but still a lot of equity for Alexander. Igor going for value with his top pair. And a lot of rivers will actually either bring Alexander ahead or cool down the action. And this might be one of the best rivers for Igor.
Yeah, a rare good run out for Igor there.
So he's back even on his way to save 1 point, or actually 3 points
3
in
points,
the standings.
one
like
win
one,
for the
one win.
London Royals.
He'll be very eager to get that donut off the scoreboard.
London Royals spent a lot of time, you know, safely tucked in behind Moscow Wolverines at the in second place in the Eurasian standings.
Well, they have a lot of quality on board.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
but things have just been, you know, shuffled up the last couple of weeks. A few really impressive performances. Obviously, most notably the comeback from the Berlin Bears, led by Brian Rast, with that 14 points in the last week's Six Maxes.
And the Hong Kong Stars doing great.
Yeah.
The 9 of diamonds blocks
Raiden
quite
and
many of those
Selena.
big draws that would be bluffing, so I don't really mind folding that hand.
Another sexy hand for Igor, but not the best flop for Alexander, so no fireworks probably. A light peel from Alexander with his runner straight draw next to his king high. And this king high is actually not good for Alexander, this king, because Igor reversed the straight. What amount will Alexander pay? Ah, okay, Igor goes for the check call, or check raise, obviously, with the nuts, to let Alexander bluff. Ah, I thought he had checked already, he does bet. Good. Alexander, yeah, can go always. I wouldn't be surprised if he can make another good fold here. On the other hand, a bluff catcher like this one is definitely a hand he can call also. And you see in his face that it's a close decision. The French vampire is thinking. Even stack, so it all doesn't matter too much if you win or lose this pot yet. Makes another good fold. We've seen him make a couple of good folds. And definitely not in a way of he folds everything. Like, he actually thinks very well about the game and makes a lot of good decisions. Who would have known 10 years ago that some French guys would have been playing good poker by now? I wouldn't have expected that.
Your ears are about to get abused. Flush draw for Igor Kurganov here, and pretty interesting turn card.
Boom.
Gives the
Pot it.
gut shot, double gut shot for
Yeah.
Alexandre Luneau.
A lot of equity here for both guys. Very interesting card, a pair for Igor, but probably not one he can lose like a big bet with. And Alexander likes to make big bets with strong hands, I think. So Igor might get away from this one. Although he had a lot of equity on the turn, his hand is not so strong anymore now. Igor's face gets sadder and sadder. Well, he just made the comeback to starting stack, so there's still enough room to grind himself back into the match. Yes, you are bluffed a couple times, Igor, but this one is probably good to fold as well. No heroing yet.
I think it's a decent markup. Ace has turned into a bluff there as well.
But Igor likes to go over all possibilities very thoroughly. Obviously, because he's a very high-class thinking player. And he gets a straight. To Alexander having some equity, so yeah. Probably gonna make some money here. It's not a really nice board actually for Alexander. Can be dead pretty often. Almost dead. Drawing to a split, stuff like that. But he decides to call once. And will probably not call another big bet. He might raise though. Hey, he's Alexandre Luneau, and also this guy thinks about all the possibilities.
Yeah, I mean Alexandre Luneau is responsible for like possibly the most kind of funky play we've seen on the GPL today.
It's definitely one of the big differences between world-class players and just winning players that can beat like the worst players. That they think about raising on a lot of rivers where other people only think about calling or folding. So that's very interesting to see that Alexander doesn't snap fold here. That probably was not because he was thinking of calling. Also a little bit maybe. It wouldn't surprise me if he was thinking of raising there.
Back to level stacks. Blinds 500, 1,000, so still playing 50 big blinds effectively.
Yeah, in 40 seconds we're going to the next level though, so action is gonna heat up. Boom. Gotcha, overguard, pair, overguard. We're going for it this hand. Will Igor peel or check raise? Both are possible in this situation.
Okay, that's the first setup card.
Yeah, Igor still has like a gut shot and an overguard. He might be less live now though. He decides to lead small here because he thinks the 3 is relatively good for his range. Well, he definitely has some 3s. Alexander might limp and bet flop with a bunch of 3x also though, so I don't know if Igor has like the big advantage here. But still, it might be a decent way to realize the equity of your hand. Not gonna work this time, because I think Alexander, with his style, will definitely find his hand strong enough to make a decent size raise to protect against all the obvious draws. He might think that Igor would bet his draws bigger though, but you know. That could also, yeah. Alexander likes to size it up.
And
we could call him like a big bet poker guy. How do you say? Long ball instead of the small ball.
Oh yeah, I don't know, like Max Heinzelmann.
He's
Benny Spindler.
Yeah, he looks like the bit wilder type.
Yeah, one of like the I don't know, like 2009 kind of guys.
Yeah, but okay, when you combine it with like the high-level thinking he definitely seems to have, then yeah, it's very dangerous. You can put on a lot of pressure, that's for sure. Taking a small chip lead is not very important.
Yeah,
this blind level yet.
Pretty tightly contested. Things.
Yeah, this
one
is
way than the other.
This is definitely
interesting flops that could flop here.
An interesting matchup. Queen 9 probably not gonna lose too much. But definitely some action turns available. Any jack, 8, 9, something, queen. 10 is not the best card for Alexander. Does he bet deuce, 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 deuce because there is deuce, deuce on the board? Subconsciously maybe? You never know.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty common occurrence. 4-4-4-4 for a, I don't know, quad fours.
I've done stuff like that, yeah. It's funny. Then they call and you're like, ha! I told you. I shouldn't say that on stream. Now people are gonna fold to my obvious bet sizes.
Just keep mixing it up, Stephen.
Yeah. It's all mind games.
IPT Malta, here you come.
I'm ready. 2 more weeks, I think, yeah. Would be so nice to win like a nice big live tournament on your own little island. I'm definitely gonna try that, yeah. King 8 is gonna probably, one way or another, win this hand. Well, this might be enough equity for Alexander to bet. Yeah, pot size is gonna be difficult for Igor. King high is gonna be good every now and then, but it's also gonna be dead every now and then, so yeah. There goes my prediction, that King 8 would win the hand.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, I mean...
it's Igor's turn to... I mean, theoretically, Alexandre should flop top pair here. Get 3.
Boom.
Igor should get 3 streets.
That's
okay.
a pair for Alexander.
So top set for Igor Kurganov.
Pretty much
Definitely
a standard check from Igor, just hoping for no king or jack to come off.
So...
Can he make the second check? Well, on this board he probably wants to go for value.
Definitely some interesting turn cards.
Kind of a suspicious line from Igor, if seen from Alexander, but still, he can give up a lot of low cards and then delayed c-bet, so his queen is still strong enough to call. Kind of a non-action river. It's kind of shitty for us.
Let's play some hands in the left then.
Because we want action.
Nothing value that as well.
We live for the action.
I couldn't value down, and he did like to raise in such spots. So I put me on a tough spot, and also I think he is the guy to take some hands into it. But
Igor speaking softly there. Probably needs a win to bring up his volume again in a victory speech. Alexander hasn't talked a lot so far, so he's probably not going to do a lot of talking after the match, or
yeah,
who knows? He can surprise us.
I'd go as far as to say I don't think we'll be getting a winner interview with Alexandre Luneau.
We're gonna see. He might be willing to talk. I mean, he seems like a friendly guy, although he looks very seriously. King 10 is gonna see a flop against Queen 5 suited.
Okay.
And yeah, depending on the river. Oh, I was gonna say we're gonna get some action, but this is a kind of a shitty river for King 10. A lot of equity there for Igor. And he takes down the pot. Effectively a little over 20 big blinds now, so we can expect to have the action speed up a little bit. Sped up a little bit?
Sped up,
speed, sped, sped, right?
Hot up.
Speed, sped, sped. I still remember those verb things.
Oh, when you were learning English?
Yeah, a long time ago.
I didn't have to learn English. I was a bit of a natural at English. It just sort of came to me.
You're just lucky you were born in England because you speak good English, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean that's debatable, I guess.
Queen 4 and 6-9, 2 very mediocre hands.
Gut shot for Alexandre Luneau.
Hey, you called it first.
I love calling gut shots.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. You already saw it. That's true.
Guys, we're not trying to hate on the French. You know,
you're being burned in the chat again.
Yeah, I mean, people think we're just like hating on the French. And,
no, I love the French, especially because they gave me a lot of money when I started playing poker. So, oh, oops, I did it again. They made a song about that. Yeah, I know. No. The French team is doing really great.
Yeah.
Still up. Well, I mean, after the points they're picking up now, up to third place in the conference.
And maybe the reason they're doing so well is because they picked some non-French players. George Danza.
Okay, that's too much.
Michael Leia.
The French guys still have to bring in our food in the break, so I'd be careful now. Yeah.
Hey, Mike Leia really putting in the performances for the Paris Aviators.
What's to do with this, ass?
Yeah, he's been raking in a lot of points.
Which part of France is he from?
Yeah.
Oh, this could be a big...
Yeah, we're going for it here.
We'll get into one more.
Actually, the short stack grew
less
a little
excitement
bit.
today. Not at home. Otherwise, Liv would be behind me and playing the VR, of course.
Yeah.
But we'll be back to that in about a week.
Igor will probably like his hand. Okay, enough to get it in, but definitely such a good flopper, this hand, that he can flat call. And he gets what he wants. A bunch of kings.
I mean,
Alexander, on the other hand,
one king.
Yeah, Alexander on the other hand does not have a hand that can lose too much money on this board. Kind of an interesting c-bet by Alexander, because it's not going to accomplish too much. Besides from taking down the pot sometimes to some ace highs, but you already have the best hand against those, so yeah, the bet is kind of a bet that just hopes to win the pot, and that's it. And that's not going to work against Igor's specific holding, which I'm pretty sure he would bet his car keys on top of this amount of chips.
Alexandre.
That's pretty nice.
8K. Alexander has blockers as well against the Jack 10-ish kind of bluffs. Ace 10 from Igor that he probably wouldn't even bet, but Jack 10 he might. So yeah, kind of an enthusiastic
most often
call from Alexander as well.
I think.
But still, you have a
And
pair
we'll end
turn.
up calling. Hope that's the case.
I mean, there's a few bluffs Igor can have here.
Oh yeah, he's of course capable of having 6 high flush draw, 7 high, 8 high, bunch of flush draws that Alexander does not block actually. So yeah.
With a tank that long is probably weaker than that.
Can you hear a call or not? Is he getting hungry?
It's Jack.
Does he need a toilet break?
Makes the call.
He makes the call.
And
Cool.
Igor's going to pull one back.
Alright, 3 points. It's not as much as wanted, but it's still something.
Congratulations to Igor.
Nice one
Saved,
for Igor.
Saved
We
from
had,
the
we had
donuts.
the broom ready, but it was
No
not,
sweep.
No
No
not gonna
sweeping.
be.
No sweeping.
No
this
sweeping
game.
here at the GPL. Igor Kurganov repeats his performance against last week. Goes down 2-1.
1-2.
Went down 2-0 against Mike Leyer. Went down 2-0 against Alexandre Luneau. Pulls back the third one. Points on the board for the
Cool
London
match.
Royals. The humiliation of the sweep avoided, and a really fun match there between those two guys. Didn't really hear
Good
much
job.
from Alexandre Luneau. We might be hearing something from Alexandre Luneau, but I'm just going to wait confirmation because I
would love to hear
want
him,
to jump to any conclusions just yet. But yeah, a fun game, pretty high level play. I mean, I think what will stand out from that
Good
game
players.
is the Alexandre Luneau min click raise after
Interesting,
betting river.
interesting creative plays, good folds, good calls, very high level thinking player. So I loved it.
Think we'll be seeing any
Yeah.
more of that play on the GPL? I
Yes,
think
yes,
it's the
these
first
guys
time
are
I've seen
around.
it on
Like,
the
no, I mean
GPL.
a lot of good players. Next match will actually be at least similarly good, I think.
Well,
So,
that match, we got
Dominic, yep.
5 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Central European time. We have Timothy Adams of the Rome Emperors versus Dominic Nietzsche of the Berlin Bears. Really exciting match going on.
Hell of a matchup.
Those two teams, regrettably, or slightly surprisingly, are occupying the bottom two spots in the Eurasian Conference. But we've seen how close this Eurasian Conference is. Now, I believe we're going to go over to Laura Cornelius in the lounge, who may or may not be with Alexandre Luneau. I have no idea. Over to you, Laura.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to Alexandre Luneau.
Thank you, boys, and hopefully we have Alex Luneau on the line. There he is. Congratulations, Alex. Well done there. Not a clean sweep, but 6 points for the Paris Aviators. Talk us through some of your mindset during those 3 games, especially the 2 that you won.
Well, that was nice because I ran pretty well, so it's always nice to play poker when everything works well. You win all in, the bluff works, and the value bet are paid off.
And what did you learn about Igor? Have you played much with him in the past? What did you know about him?
Together, online a bit, but not much. And I didn't see many showdowns. I will have to review the game to see really, because it's hard because we don't get to see the hand, so I don't know much. He seems to play well, but I haven't seen much of his hand. So.
Well, I know for a fact that he was visibly annoyed at some of the folds that he made when you'd bluffed him. So I think he's going to be watching the stream, which comes 10 minutes later, and I guess you can watch it back as well.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Are you up to anything else poker-wise or non-poker-wise?
No, nothing special. It's all quiet here.
Get that bottle of red wine.
Yeah.
Congratulations again. Paris Aviators needed those points. And 6 points they got, doing incredibly well. Now able to accelerate themselves a little bit. We're going to check out the standings and how they look now after those 6 points were taken down. Let's see. They are now in third place. There was only 1 point, in fact, separating London and Paris, and we can now see they are 2 points clear in third place. London Royals have gone from second to fourth in just a matter of days, and now we have the Berlin Bears in fifth and the Rome Emperors in sixth. Those two will be facing each other in the next game, which will be coming up in just around 1 hour's time. That game is happening at 11 p.m. Central European time, so do join us back here on the Global Poker League, because Dominic Nietzsche of the Berlin Bears will be taking on Timothy Adams of the Rome Emperors.